Okay, in this video demo I'm going to show you how to make a start on the assignment code, how to put together a sample application that will connect to the database table that we've set up in the background, and then create a little servlet that will dig out this data and generate some XML and JSON from that data to send back to a browser application. This does assume that you've already set up the database table of sample film data. Demonstration of how to do that is in another little video help file. Okay, so let's make a start here. We'll inside Eclipse, we're going to do a new dynamic web project. If you can't see it in the main menu, you'll need to go through the other option and down to web. Here mine's in the frequently used ones. So dynamic web project, and I'll just call this the demo assignment solution. Everything else can be left as is. It's using Apache 8.5. Everything there's just fine. See here we've got the demo assignment solution ready there with some web content ready that I'm going to make available. Now, in order to get this program underway, there's a lot of demo code that you'll find useful to use, and it might be useful if you just pause the video after the next instruction and get hold of these sample files ready to be able to use in the next part to it. One of the sample set of files you'll need is the Ajax data project. This was the lab exercise, or the demos from the lecture exercises done in week 4 of Moodle. If you go over to the Enterprise Programming Moodle page, down to week 4, you'll see the Ajax and jQuery Ajax Labs there, and if you just download them, have a look in your download folder, you'll see the Ajax Labs and Solutions, and inside there we've got the Ajax data.zip. Now all you're going to do is import that into your project. Now that's something that we've done many times. I'm not going to show how to do the import here. That is already imported in my particular Eclipse here ready. So I'm going to use some code out of that later on. The other useful part is to make sure that you've got from the intro section useful code to get an initial start on your assignment. If you download that, you'll see useful assignment starter files. There's the Create Films SQL that we've just used in a previous demonstration to connect to the database. But here you'll see a couple of useful jar files for the project I'll be using, and the film and film DAO starter files as well that I'm going to be using as part of this project. Finally, in week 8, you'll see a demo JDO data store full example showing retrieve and insert file. There'll be some useful code inside this that we're using. It's just a PDF file, and when you download it, you'll see the demo of using Google Data Store via JDO. It's inside here that we'll be digging out some code just in a second. So you may want to pause the video just at this point and make sure you've got this code ready to be able to load into your own application. So looking inside the Ajax data here, our structure, going to follow these model view controller. and you'll see in this particular example there's a controller program called Show Cities, and Show Cities asks a data accessor object, the city utils, to retrieve or get a city or get multiple cities, which in this case is stored just internally. But the structure of this particular example is pretty much the same as the one that you're building, and the basic object that it's manipulating is a city object. In our case, we're going to be manipulating a film object. We'll have a film data accessor object equivalent to city utils, and I'll have a film controller which is the equivalent of this show cities. So moving on to your demo assignment solution, let's set up appropriate folders for this. Inside my source, I'm going to create a couple of packages. One package called controller, where my controller software is going to be, and another package called model, where my models are going to be. Now the models are these film examples that we've already downloaded. So if I just quickly get those, I'm going to get my film and film data accessor object, copy those, and paste them into my model. You'll see there that you've got your film Java in here. Just needs the package indicating at the top of the module. Package model. And similar for the data accessor object. Package model. So in the film, we've got the basic film object, ID, title, year, director, stars, review. That ties over to the database table that we've got. That's ready set up with getters and setters and a little toString method, which will be useful later on. And the film data accessor object has got the accessor code to get to your database. So here you'll need to alter this to go back to your own username. So after the 3306 slash, you'll put your database username in. That's for the schema, your own username in again. So that'll be your surname initial type 1, and then your password. Can't remember that I've still got that in the buffer. No, I've not. So I'll get that one just in a second after I copy it out of another little exercise. So that's going to be you're going to have to set that to get your own details in for it, and then the controller, we can give a little test program to see whether or not that data accessor object actually works for it. So inside my controller package, I'm going to create a new class, and it's just going to be a little standalone Java controller. So I'll just call this one main controller class, because it'll have a main object. Tick my public static void main. And all this main is going to do is just to test out that data accessor object. So I'll need to declare a film DAO FDAO say, as being a new film DAO. I need to include film DAO from the model. And having got that, I can then start to use it. So one of the useful little ones in here inside the film DAO is something like, let's have a look. Get film by ID or get all films. Get all films returns an array list. So inside my main controller, I'm going to declare myself an array list of films called films, and just ask my film data accessor object to get all films. That should give me a list of films available, and then I can just have a look at what's sort of in there. So I can do this either with a loop, or I can later on I'll be converting it to JSON and XML. Let's do it with a loop for now. So for int I is 0, while I is less than film's size, I++. So for every film, a film, one film is films.get at position I. And then let's just print that out. System out print line one film dot toString. We have a toString method available there in it. So I'm just going to temporarily pause this one to let you just have a go at catching that one up, and I'll be back in a moment with part 2.